This is Inside Saudi with Carly Overman
and Vesna Petrovic.
I am a mom of two. I moved to Riyadh about a month ago now. I'm Canadian, but I've come from the UK. And over to you.
I'm Vesna.
Full disclosure, I've done a podcast before.
Yeah.
I have like a little bit more. I've been doing social media since it came out. Vesna's like a little bit more new to this.
Okay, so I'm a mum of three. I have two boys and a girl, 9, 11 and 13, and we have moved from Perth, Western Australia.
You've been here about the same time as me, right?
Probably about the same time. We moved in June and set up the apartment and left for summer vacation in Europe for 2 months. And we've just come back when school started. So pretty much the same time as you.
Yeah. Thought we'd start this episode with what are our biggest misconceptions? What were our biggest worries before we moved here? And then what has it actually been like being here?
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people moving here probably have the same kind of worries and concerns. What was it like when you were sitting back home and trying to figure out about this move?
It was stressful, to be honest. And I was Googling and doing all these things like what to expect. And I don't think that you should do that. I think that you just need to go with the flow and pack your bags and move. Coming here, my biggest fear was the kids, taking them out of the unknown and just bringing them into a different country. They have to meet new kids at school, starting a new school, new activities, things that they're already familiar with.
Yeah.
So that was a main concern. And
because they probably had such a fun life going on. Perth seems like such a good place to grow up.
it is. It's very vibey. It has the beaches. It's very similar to Riyadh in weather, so it's nice and hot, so we're used to that. Yes, they were very, very comfortable. They had all their friends, they had all their activities, a lot of sporting arrangements, football and gymnastics, and they had all their friends. And then coming here, it's like you're needing to re-enroll them into all these activities and they have to find their crew again.
Mm-hmm. It's the same for me. I have much younger kids, so my daughter's 3.5, and then I have a baby. He's 6 months old. She had such a good nursery in the UK. It was like a little school. It wasn't just a place where she'd go and play. She really had connections with her friends there. She had connections with the teachers. So that was my biggest concern too. So our situation was a bit different. We did come and we had a week where we explored everything. And that was good, but it still felt unknown. The schools here are all international schools and they're big. And so that was my biggest concern too. Is she gonna like it? Yeah, it actually made me feel sick. What are we doing?
I agree. And how do you feel now?
Now I feel fine because she started her school. Her school is great. She loves her school. She's made so many little friends. The nice thing is, obviously we chose a school that's close to us. And so a lot of her friends are on compound. So every single night we go out and we see them. And she actually has best friends that she sees around all the time. So nice for kids living this life where you can walk to school, you can live on a compound, you can go see your friends all the time. It's very safe. What about for your kids? What are they liking it now that they're here?
They absolutely love it. And like I said, that's kind of what I was afraid of. But being here now, they don't even really mention Australia, to be honest. They only mention, missing, really close family and the dog that we left behind.
Yeah.
But apart from that, they have just fit in so well. They have met their friends, having play dates, even the compound, like you said. It's just such a great place for kids to meet, interact. There's a few kids their age, so they're loving it. They just go down. There's so many activities for them to do down there, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's after school. It's kind of straight down there and into playing with friends. And it keeps them off their devices as well, which is excellent.
That's interesting. What do they do down there?
There's a pool table. There's ping pong, which they love. They love using the cold plunges. They love the swimming. Yeah. So it's funny. Kind of like who can stay in the cold plunge the longest.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
And then there's
how long do they stay in the cold plunge for?
They try to compete with me as well, so quite a while.
Over 20 minutes?
No, probably about 5-6 minutes.
Okay.
I don't let them stay that long.
They all have hypothermia every day.
We're building strong, resilient kids.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there's also a little basketball setup in the little kids section, which they absolutely love. And I'm like, how do you even play basketball down there? But they come back up and they're all sweaty and they're all exhausted, which I love because, you know, they're just using up all their energy for when they come home. They can just kind of relax and unwind and get ready for bed.
Yeah. Kids, I feel like it was a big concern, and it was the silliest concern because kids just love it here. Like, I haven't seen a kid here who hasn't been enjoying it. What else was a big concern?
For me, it was whether I could find my crew, you know, if I could find people to get along with, which I'm quite, you know, bubbly and I do get along with a lot of people, but just being in the unknown and not knowing what to expect. We're in a new, pretty new compound, so it's not as established as others, so you just don't know how many people there will be.
I agree. That was like, I think the biggest opportunity in moving here, because it's almost like living on a compound is such a unique experience. Like, it's basically like going to university again in a weird way, or like I went to a boarding school as well. So it's like, I think you can make such good friends in those circumstances. When we came, because we did do that week where we toured everywhere, we stayed at a bigger compound, and it was summertime, like it was June, so there maybe wasn't as many people around, but like I didn't see cool groups of moms getting together, and that's what I was looking for and hoping for. And so that made me a bit worried, and it also influenced my decision of like where we did choose to live. Yeah, that was like a concern, but I felt like it was like a big opportunity, and I just hoped it would be what I thought it would be in my head, kind of thing. But like we met at just like a ladies' breakfast thingy.
Yeah.
Is that no? We met at a workout class.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we were put together at one of the boot camp classes at our compound as partners, and that's kind of where it kicked off. I was like, I'm Vesna, and we kind of hit it off there.
Yeah, I was like, you know, you can just tell like I will get along with this person. Yeah. Like I think you mentioned you were going in the cold plunge after, and I was like, okay, like cool. She likes to work out. She's going to the cold plunge after. Like I feel like we could be friends. And then we met again because there was like a ladies' breakfast thingy. And I think you said at that breakfast, like, I kind of want to start something. And I was like, oh yeah, you definitely should. Like, you should definitely start something. And I was just like, we should go to the mall one day. Like, because I was just like, we're probably going to get along. I can just tell. And then we did go to the mall. And then I think you mentioned a bit more of what you wanted to do. And you mentioned the word podcast. And I was like, I brought all my gear. Let's do it. Like, let's do it. And then the rest is history, basically.
I agree.
Meeting someone that you start a podcast with, and you've known each other for like, by the time we started the podcast, we'd known each other for like a week.
Yeah.
So I think like that kind of answers that. And then also I've met other people on the compound, like lots of kids' parents and just like other people. So way more people than I would have met in the UK, in our countryside home, through nursery or whatever. I don't know, however you meet people.
I agree. I think people here are just a lot more open to meeting up and getting together. Whereas back home, I feel like you need to like, you know, schedule these catch-ups, and, you know, if somebody's sick or, you know, something comes up, it just takes forever to reschedule something. So like you cannot maybe see one of your really good friends for 6 months or so, and that's just crazy because here that would never happen.
Yeah.
Here it's kind of like you go with the flow. I would probably say it's like living in a village, like a small village where everyone is a community, everyone comes together, and you see someone, you're like, hey, pop over, come over, let's have a tea, or let's like, you know, have a conversation, or I love it.
Yeah.
I honestly absolutely love the free flow of everything. You don't have to organize anything.
Yeah.
It just kind of happens.
100%. I knew it was an important decision where we chose to live, but it really is an important decision. Like, if that's what you're wanting, if you're coming here for like those kinds of things, I'm really glad that we ended up where we ended up, because I think I thought that about the other compound I stayed, like, I don't see that happening. And it was a bit of a red flag, but I was like, maybe people are just gone. But no, I think that is a red flag, like, because that is the most important decision you'll make, if that's important to you, like making friends. It's really hard to schedule things and go meet up when you have kids and stuff like that. But when you live here, it's like, you'll just wave out your balcony and be like, come up. And it's like, yeah, that works. I'm here. Like, it's all very like that. And yesterday we were in the playroom and met up with one of Violet's friends and ended up hanging out for like a couple hours. And it's like, and I know you have another friend that like your kids are similar age.
Yeah.
So you end up doing stuff like just off the cuff.
So it's, yeah. She
Yeah.
just sends me a text or I send her a text and she's like, the kids are downstairs or come to my house or I'll bring the kids over. You get, you know, it's, you feel like a family community rather than trying to make things work. They just work.
Yeah. We have to go back to the UK to sort some visa stuff out. And isn't it gonna be weird when I'm gone for like 10 days? Like
It will.
yeah. Like
I'm going to like, where's Carly?
yeah, like it does feel like you are kind of building like really close friendships really fast here. And now I'm like, oh my God, leaving is going to be weird. And we've been here for like 3.5 weeks. It's just crazy.
The bonds you create are really something special.
Yeah.
And I actually never thought that would happen. Like you just don't think that you're going to bump into someone, meet someone and really make that connection with them. And it's nice.
Yeah, it's really nice. Another one concern I had was definitely like, you think that Saudi is a very oppressive place. You hear things like women can't drive. It's conservative here. People cover up. And that's a reality for sure. But like just things like that. Like it's like a different culture. It's a different way of living. And it's something I wasn't used to. And I was worried about it for sure. When we came and visited, it was only for a week. And so I don't know. I was just worried. Like it was fine after we visited and we did make the decision to move here, but it had only been a week. And so I still was worried about it. And what about like, was that a worry for you as well?
It was. Like I said, you kind of go online and you do this research and you listen to other people's opinions and then you're like, stop. I actually need to experience this for myself. And coming here, yes, you do see people covered up and, you know, it is a completely different to Australia, but I actually like it. I love the fashion. I love how chic and feminine it is. I can definitely make it work. Like it doesn't...
It's not as big as a thing as you thought it would
what
be.
I thought it would be. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing is like, I heard things like women can't leave the country without their husband's permission. And like, I just went to like worst case scenario. I don't know. What if something happened with my husband and I, and we have an amazing relationship and nothing ever, but I'm just thinking like, I'm a
Long
Virgo.
term.
I'm like, what's all the little details that could happen? What if they did happen? And then what would happen to us? And so I was going like way in the weeds. I'm like, Matthew, we need to make a post-nup. Like we need to like do all this stuff. And he's like, oh my God, we've got a lot to do already, but sure, we could make a post-nup, like whatever you want. And I'm like, I think what surprised me about when we actually came here and we lived here and it'd been longer than a week is it is a very family-friendly society. Like they value families. And I think that gets lost in translation of like whatever the Western countries see. Actually being here, it's like family first. And I've found that very interesting and it's made it like a very welcoming experience because we are a family, obviously. We have little kids. Like in every mall, there's like a place you can take your kids to play and you can actually leave them if they want to be left. Like when we went furniture shopping, there's a place you can take your kids and obviously it's not as much for your older kids, and you can just leave them and there's somebody will watch them and they'll call you if they need you. Obviously you get nannies here and like you get help and stuff like with kids. And I just noticed the attitude to kids is very positive. Like I noticed in the UK, we're running around with little kids who are screaming their heads off and stuff or being obnoxious. There might be people who are like annoyed about that. You don't get that here, which I've found really interesting. Like if anything, people are like, oh, amazing. Love to see it. Love to see your little kids around. So yes, you cover up more. Again, I have the same sentiment as you. Like it's fine. I don't mind doing that at all. I don't mind dressing a little bit more conservatively. And then the other stuff, actually being here, I don't know, whatever the you can't leave the country. First of all, that's not a reality for me with my visa. I can leave the country because of the visa we've gotten.
Yeah, I believe there's a big misconception around a lot of topics here.
Yeah.
And it's so nice to just be here and experience it and know that they're not facts.
Yeah.
And I do love how everyone is just so polite, so inviting. Like you said, you just go to the mall and you see other little kids just having little tantrums. It's totally normal. And, you know, people just look at you and smile with gratitude and it makes you feel better. I know when my kids were little and they just fall on the floor and you feel so uncomfortable. But here you don't get that feeling. It's kind of like normal. Like there's no judgment.
Yeah.
Everyone is just so welcoming and they want you to feel like you're at home. And that's exactly how I feel coming here. I feel like I'm at home, like, and that I haven't even left my home.
When I came here that first week, I was like, didn't know the protocol. I didn't know, obviously other women are wearing like niqabs where only you can see their eyes. I think that's what it's called. And everyone's kind of wearing an abaya at least, except for the Westerners or expats who have come. And so I kind of felt like, couldn't even like look those women in the eyes because I just didn't know the protocol. And then now that I've been here, I realize, no, like everyone is very friendly. My daughter and I will like go into Sephora and the ladies will like lift up their niqab and like smile at her and they'll like spray her with perfume. And like, I don't know what my perception was, but it's something that I wasn't used to. And so I didn't know how to receive it. And everyone is extremely friendly and welcoming here. So was there anything else that was like really worrying you before you actually came here?
Just the efficiency of everything, I guess. Like, I'm not driving here. How do I get my license? Do I need to do driving lessons again? How am I going to go food shopping? I don't know any of the brands at the shops. How do I even look these brands up? I guess the unknown in all different little areas. Like, what if I need this? I don't know how to get here. And it's just so simplified here.
Yeah.
Everything is just so convenient. It's about convenience. So you get in the car or you get an Uber and you go where you need to go.
Like obviously they have every delivery option you would want. And I guess where we came from in the UK, we were a bit like we couldn't get delivery to where we lived because we were in the countryside. And so having that was great. But same, like I love to cook and get nice fresh fruit and vegetables. And like we also eat seafood, but mainly like plant-based. And so it's like, what will we be able to get there? But getting here, like obviously I've quickly learned that like you can order everything. Like obviously there's Amazon, but they have other apps too where you can get things delivered in like 10 minutes. Like that's what I did today. I needed laundry detergent and so I got it like a 15-minute delivery. Do they have that in Perth? No. Perth, I've heard that Perth is like very bad for deliveries based on...
It is. It's just a waiting game.
Yeah.
So coming here, you feel like you've come on another planet. It's just so convenient.
Yeah.
And everything is just...
You can get anything
modernized.
You want. Yeah.
Like, I think we'll be waiting like 10 years in order to get there in Perth.
Yeah.
Even the shops open at, they close at like 5:30 p.m.
Same in the UK.
And that's when people finish work. How are you meant to go? You've only got a few options of a few supermarkets, which are super expensive after hours, to go and get what you need, whether it's here, like you said, 15 minutes. And if you don't get it within the 15 minutes, there's your money back guarantee, which I haven't received yet, and I've ordered a lot of things.
Yeah.
They are just so efficient and everything just somehow gets here on time.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've shopped at a few of the supermarkets now, and like there is a good range of options. Like I'm not gonna lie, it's not, in terms of plant-based stuff, that's not really a thing here. I didn't expect it to be, so that's fine. It's not like I expected it to be all the options I had in the UK. But there's still like things, you can still get things here. Like you can get tofu and you can get beans and like all these different things. And so I've explored a couple different grocery stores. And yeah, same, it's quite convenient. Like you can order all your groceries to be delivered and they're delivered right to your door. And so that's really good when you have kids and you just don't want to spend hours of your day doing that.
I agree.
Yeah.
Even when you go food shopping, obviously put everything you want in the cart, but when you get to the counter, they're putting it on the track for you and then they're putting it through.
Yeah.
There's one person packing your bags, putting it in your trolley, then actually taking it to your car, putting it in your car. So it's first class service, something that we don't receive back home. They're trying to do everything and make it kind of more, not so much customer service based anymore. They're trying to automate everything, which I find here it's all about the customer service. Yeah, you do have a bit of automation, but mostly you're speaking to a person and you're interacting with humans. Back home, they're trying to take away that experience, whereas here they want it to be that traditional experience.
I feel like especially with a baby, And when it's the same in the UK, like everything's more automated, there's less people, which is fine, but there's like some baseline kind of things like when you have a baby and you have 100 bags of groceries and you're clearly struggling, just nobody helps you in the UK. Whereas I've been in that situation here. Now I have a nanny, thank God. Never going grocery shopping with my baby again. But I did have to in the early days before we'd found that, like the first couple of weeks. And like somebody actually saw I was struggling and like helped me. The cashier lady was like, get the people to like help me to the Uber. And then the Uber driver is like helping me to the... So like everyone is like helpful because they can see. Whereas in the UK, it's kind of like, you got a lot in your hands there. And it's like...
They just ignore it.
Yeah. Or they'll say like, wow, you've got a lot. You've got a lot. I'm like, yeah, I do. And it's not like people have to help you, but it is really nice when people...
It's just respectful.
Yeah. It's like, it is really hard to have little kids and have to do basic things because they're like barfing on you, they're crying, whatever. It comes down to like, the values here are very family focused. And so people are very helpful if you have kids. Like, I don't know. Yeah, you're not judged. You're not like, people aren't just like, ooh, she's got a lot on her plate today. Like, they actually help you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's any other big worries. Just the heat. I was worried about the heat. Before we moved here, I would like look at the weather here and it's like 45 degrees and it's like not cooling down through the night or barely. And so I was very worried about that. I guess were you, because you already lived in a hot place?
I was worried because my husband was sending text messages to our group chat and every day was like 45, 43, 42, 43, 45. And you kind of look at it and you're like, wow, like, yeah, it does get to that weather in Perth, but it does cool down. So you kind of get a nice night's sleep when it cools down. But I felt like you said, it was just going through the night and it was never ending. But the positive side to that is that a lot of people stay indoors. You know, you're fully air-conned, and that's why most people go to the malls during the day that don't have jobs and that are, you know, stay-at-home parents or whatever you may be doing. You kind of just sit indoors and then you go out in the evening around 5, 6 p.m. And that's the benefits of having the late night malls. You know, you can go out with your families and your kids in the evening when it cools down, when it's more pleasant to have a walk.
That's the thing, like, or in the UK, if you have like some hot days, it's just like, it's gross and it's sticky and like, the UK isn't made for hot days. The UK is made for, I don't know, a variety of weather. Whereas here, it's hot, and so it's like designed for hot weather, and so everywhere is air conditioned. All the transit is air conditioned. If you have to walk outside, the thing I didn't realize, which was such a benefit, is that it's not humid here. And so even if I've been walking at 42 degrees, and yes, it's hot, but you're not like drenched in sweat. And at least if you are like a little bit sweaty, because it is 42 degrees, it dries quickly because it's not humid. So that's a huge benefit to being like where we are specifically in Riyadh. But yeah, you just change your routine. So like for me, I'll try to wake up and go to the gym in the morning. Maybe I'll go for like a little walk, like before it's too hot. Like maybe go get a coffee, maybe take the kids for a scooter ride, like walk them to school or whatever. Then I'll like go to the gym and do like indoor stuff. Maybe I need something for the apartment. Maybe I need groceries. Maybe we do some work inside, which has kind of become our routine. We'll like get a coffee and do work. And then in the evening, as it cools down, that's when I'll go outside and see people outside. And I'm excited for it to get cooler and start to do more stuff. But yeah, you just change your routine, basically.
You do. You organize your schedule around the weather.
Yeah.
Which I never thought I'd do, but you just do. And you make it work.
Like in the UK, it'll start to be where we lived. It'll get dark at like 5 o'clock. It'll start to get there. And it'll stay dark in the morning. And it gets quite depressing in that sense, because then it's also like raining through the day. And so it's kind of the same but different. Like you stay inside because it's raining and it's dark. Here it's so hot that you stay inside. I think it's like weirder in your mind because normally it's sunny, you go outside. So it's just like kind of getting over that. And everyone on my social media is like, wait till the winter. Like the winter's going to be amazing. Like all the stuff.
And you can definitely notice it as well. Like now when we go out in the afternoon and meet in the courtyard and the kids are running around, you're standing there and you're like, this is actually quite pleasant.
Yeah.
Like even though it's quite it's still a high temperature, you're feeling good.
Yeah.
And you're like, I can feel that it's getting cooler.
Yeah.
And I'm super excited to see what the winter's going to be like, because like you said, everyone is kind of talking it up and saying that it's super cold and that you need your thick abaya and, you know, you're going to need your trench coats, your boots. And I'm kind of like, I'm finding it hard to imagine because it hasn't hit me yet because of the extreme heats.
Yeah. I know. Back in the UK, I'm going to go back soon and get a bunch of winter stuff because people told me you'll need your winter stuff. But I'm like, I don't know. I'm having a hard time believing it too. It's barely been below 40 degrees so far. So I'm just having a hard time believing it. But I also know that this is the hottest period. So I don't know. We'll see.
And it's autumn.
Yeah. Energy is kind of like, I guess at the beginning of summer, maybe it's like springtime energy in the UK when like it's starting to get warmer and people are starting to be outside more. That's kind of the energy it is right now. People are starting to go outside. It just feels like more people are out and about suddenly.
I agree.
They were hibernating.
Yeah, you definitely didn't see a lot of people walking around the compound like outside.
Yeah.
And now there's a lot more people, which is nice to see.
Trying to think if there was anything else. I think that was mainly it for me. It's like the weather, like what is it really going to be like to live there in terms of people say negative things, to be honest, and is it really going to be negative? And then like, are the kids going to like it? Am I actually going to make friends? And I think the reality is like all of those things have been fine. You figure out the weather. It's been really good. I think living in like a close-knit community like we are, and the kids having such a good time, having so much to do. And obviously there's the elephant in the room of like, you aren't paying tax. And so you are living a better lifestyle. That's why I think a lot of people come here. It is really good. I'm happy with the move. Like it's been a month now and like I have no complaints, and it's been summer.
I agree. I'm so happy with the decision we have made. And you kind of think back and you're like, am I going to make the right decision? Am I not? But I feel like it just all falls into place. Mm-hmm. And like you said, there's so many different things that distract us. And I think it's just the mind going a little bit astray. But once you get here and you experience everything, it feels comfortable. It feels like home. I'm happy that we've done it. It's just all very positive, to be honest. And another little thing I might add is I didn't think there would be any greenery being in the desert, but there's just so many beautiful palm trees. And I love palm trees because I love that, you know, tropical kind of vibe. So seeing them everywhere on the streets and all the lighting, and
that is a big part of the whole project.
Yeah.
The Vision 2030. Like, growth is happening at such a fast pace here. I've not seen anywhere else. Like entire cities are being built. It's just kind of crazy what's happening in Saudi right now. But that's another part of it. Like they want to make like more greenery, and I haven't even been to any of the big parks yet, but they look beautiful, and that's kind of on the winter list as like the weather starts to cool down. I want to explore those too. Oh, one thing that I forgot to mention is obviously, so I have 2 dogs that I'm bringing, and so that is still a big worry because they're not here yet. And obviously you decided not to bring your dog. He's living with your mom, right?
he is, yeah, with my mum, and she has his brother.
She has
his little brother. So he's got his brother, and they're just...
Your mom didn't mind taking your dog?
She didn't, no. Yeah.
So yeah, our dogs, we just got interrupted by a phone call there. Not sure if that was in the audio. Our dogs are coming because we don't have anyone who like is happy to take them. And so 2 small-ish dogs, we're going to bring them. They're pretty lazy anyway. They don't like... Chester would... Whatever. One of our dogs is like a little more active. One of them is quite lazy. As you'll meet Winnie, and yeah, she's very lazy. So I am worried about that. But I think at the end of the day, it's better to have them with us than not. I think they'll be happier with their family. And it just didn't feel like an option to leave them because we didn't have an option like you had where like somebody was like, yeah, I'm happy to have your dogs. We have a nanny who's going to help us, and she's fine with dogs, and we'll have that like extra set of hands who can like take them out in the morning or whatever. I think that'll make all the difference too. So I think it's going to be okay.
I think so too. And it's like one of those things, you're overthinking it again.
Yeah.
Once they get here, you'll feel like, oh, that was a breeze, and you'll have another little topic to talk about.
Yeah.
But for now, you kind of like, oh, is it the right decision? Is it not? And for us, it was more long haul flight, and we have strict quarantine rules when we're heading back. So I just didn't want to put him through that, knowing that we had another option.
That's so true, because they don't have to quarantine when they get here. And the UK is not as strict on the quarantine, but I know Australia, they have to quarantine for like 30 days.
I think 3 months when
That's
you bring them back
crazy.
into the country. So I thought that would kind of be a bit traumatizing, bringing them into another country. It's super hot, having such a smaller amount of space to what he's used to back home. And then, when if we decide to go back home, it's just, getting him away again for 3 months. He'll be like, what are they doing to me?
Yeah, totally. I think what has surprised me about being here is basically all my worries. I didn't have to worry about those things, basically. It's been better than I expected. It's been like an amazing decision in terms of like all the things I was worried about. The only thing that might not be is like the dogs, but I think they'll be fine once they get here. As you said, it's the one last unknown. Is there anything like else that like now that we're here, you've been like, wow, that's amazing?
I'm actually quite happy with not packing too much and coming very and actually being very strict. We literally came with 2 suitcases each. I was like to the kids, we're not bringing any big ticket items. We're just going to go with the flow, and we're going to buy everything there. And that was kind of scary as well, because, you're leaving all your stuff behind, and am I going to be able to replace it? But everything is replaceable almost. Having the convenience of all the different stores, you can find whatever you want.
Yeah.
And if not, better things, to be honest. And also just packing. Pack light, people. You do not need to go overboard. You can buy everything here. Don't stress yourself out too much. I know a lot of people like move furniture, move all these big ticket items. You don't really need to, and it ends up probably costing the same. Like once you bring all this stuff over, you can refurnish your house for that amount as well.
Because you said that you've moved a few times in Perth or in Australia, and everything gets broken every time you move.
Everything is damaged, so then you've got a different headache. Yeah. As you say, like you live and you learn through your experiences, and this is another learning curve for us. Like we're going to learn so many different things through this experience for later on. So just pack light. Pack what you really need. Don't go overboard, and just enjoy the whole experience. Don't get too caught up in the moment. Don't let your head, and your mind tell you different things. Don't research too much. It's not worth the stress.
Just listen to our podcast.
Yeah.
Watch our TikTok videos.
Yeah.
That's enough.
We're trying to be as raw as possible.
Yeah, I was the same. But I actually went down the road of like looking into shipping everything over. And then I was like, hey, I'm not going to ship everything. I'm going to ship some things. And I made like a very curated list. And then it didn't make sense. I don't think they ship curated lists of stuff over. They only do like the big boxes or nothing, because there's not as many options as if you're moving to like Dubai. So in the end, we brought nothing, 2 suitcases each. We all flew business so that we could have like really heavy suitcases. But other than that, that's what it was. And what did I bring? Clothes, podcasting gear, a bunch of stuffed animals and toys. And I would bring, if you have like an expensive Dyson or like something like that and it fits in a suitcase, I would bring that. But other than that, yeah, you can rebuy everything here. The furniture stores are really nice here. The clothing stores are nice here. But that is probably one thing I'll buy when I go back to the UK, like a couple things, because things are more expensive. So like I'll probably hit Sephora. I'll hit some shops that I like there. Now that I know what I like to wear here, though, I will do that. And I think that's a good way to do it. For the most part, like furniture-wise, definitely don't ship stuff over. So I think I've seen some people who never leave the compound, and that is not the life I want to live here. I want to, and we feel the same.
We have the same. perspective on this one.
We want to like go experience things in Riyadh. There's so much for the city to offer. We want to go experience those things. We don't want to just live our life on our compound. And that's probably why we ended up choosing a compound where you do go off compound.
You're kind of forced to leave, you know, like, because you want to do exciting things. You don't have everything here. Like, I know some of them have like a Starbucks and restaurants, cafes, and we don't have as many amenities, which is also a bonus. There's always positive and negative to everything, but I think it is a positive because we are forced to go out, explore. There's so many beautiful cafes and restaurants here, so many malls, there's the souks, there's so many destinations within Saudi that I would actually love to see and immerse myself in, that I'm actually excited.
Yeah.
I'm actually excited to leave.
Me too. And so we are going to make like a segment in this podcast where it's like, what is our whatever off compound Saudi experience that week? And so recording this just a few days ago was Saudi National Day. And so we were like, okay, let's try to experience this. Like, yes, I have 2 young kids. You have 3 kids. You know, we can't be out there like fist bumping on the streets with all our kids, but we were like, let's try to experience this to the best of our ability kind of thing.
So at about 7:30, Carly put her kids to sleep and we met downstairs. We went to the mall, and just the experience, the celebrations of the Saudi people was just so beautiful to see. The celebrations had already started the night before, so everyone had their big flags on their cars, and everyone was hanging out the windows and music playing. I felt like we were in a totally different country, to be honest. It was so beautiful to see. Went to the mall. There were so many celebrations and giveaways in the mall too. The mall, you just couldn't walk through how busy it was. So we went in a few stores to have a look at what we wanted. We couldn't really find the green color that we wanted. It was all kind of a bit more lighter green. We wanted the traditional green Saudi colors. We ended up finding some t-shirts, which we paired up with stuff that we already had, and it worked out really well. But just like the drive, the experience the night before, I could only imagine what it was like on the night. You know, unfortunately we couldn't go out because of the kids and because it was just so busy. But I'd love to experience that in the future, where we just kind of leave the kids at home with someone looking after them and just go and immerse ourselves.
Yeah, I think it was too early. Like, I've only had a nanny for like a couple weeks, so it was too early to do that. But yeah, it was crazy to see just the celebrations kind of starting even the night before. And even like, I remember when we were driving home, people were like stopping us and like giving us drinks through the windows, and like there's people hanging out their cars with the Saudi national flag. I've never seen anything like that, like for any whatever Canada Day or what's the American one called?
There's Australia Day. There's
it must be, I can't remember, but obviously the Americans have their big celebration, but we have Canada Day. Yeah, we've kind of later learned that if you want to get your Saudi National Day outfit, you probably do it online in the weeks leading up.
You prepare earlier.
Yeah, you don't go to the mall the night before, because if you do that, you end up with like a green palm tree t-shirt. But that was fine. At least we got something. And then on the actual day, our compound did some like traditional things. They like had something, people come in, so they had whatever, like a spice station, and they had some like robes you could put on, and so that was fun. It was fun to at least do something and like...
I agree. It was fun to make this like your own spices that you could take home. You could dress up in the traditional, you know, abaya.
Yeah. We didn't obviously go out in the night just because we were too scared of like getting stuck in traffic with the kids, but definitely next year we will. But what we did do is like a couple days later, you had not bought an abaya yet. And so we did go to a mall that lots of people recommended, Andulas Mall, to do like some serious abaya shopping and see if we could find you something. And like,
that was super fun.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. There are so many stores in there. I couldn't believe that there was a mall of just abayas.
And that's just one of the malls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard. We've
Yeah.
got so many recommendations, so we're
Yeah.
definitely going to be doing some more Abaya shopping. But just the different materials. There's the thicker materials, the lighter materials, so many different colors and concepts and prints and patterns.
Yeah.
I just didn't know that all this existed. And
Yeah.
it's so nice to see it all in the one place.
I think it was a bit overwhelming too, though, because I think like you and I want like a little bit more of a maybe like stylish abaya. Like we're not traditional. We're wearing this just to like cover up our outfits kind of thing a little bit, or to make our outfits more conservative. I don't know. But we want like something a little less traditional. So there are some gems that we found there that looked good. I think we also realized we like the Abaya malls, whatever, the Andulas Mall with all the different shops. But I feel like you need to know what the good shops are, or we need to know our way around a little bit more.
We do.
Yeah.
We did have Arthur with us, so
That's
we're
true.
kind of on a bit of a time constraint.
The baby.
Yep, the baby
Yeah.
was our number one priority.
Yeah.
But it was a good first experience.
Yeah.
I feel like I learned a lot. I learned that there was so many different styles. You know, there was more looser fittings. There was some with like a lot more material than others.
Yeah.
Pockets, hoodies. There's just so many different options that I actually didn't know existed. Like, because, you know, you see your traditional abaya during the day, but you don't see all the different varieties that there are. So it's good to know that there's so much to choose from.
Yeah, I was really nervous going in for some reason. I think just different. It's different. I was nervous to go into the Abaya shop, the first Abaya shop that I went into, but you just kind of have to go in and start pulling stuff off the rack and trying it on and see if it looks good, kind of thing.
Yeah.
The nice thing about going to the like actual Abaya malls is you can kind of do that a little bit more freely because it's probably just like other women, because you do have to think about where you are. You can't be like in the UK, I'd just try on a jacket and take off my jacket and put it on. You kind of have to think about that because if there's men around, like that's not, I guess, acceptable. Yeah. But in the Andulas Mall, I kind of felt like it's mainly just women and you can just kind of try things on more freely. So I imagine that's what it's like in some of the more, like the Abaya Mall, the Royal Mall, Andulas Mall, whatever. If it's all abayas, that's kind of okay.
Yeah, and they bring you extra things that they think would suit you, you know?
Yeah.
Things that you might like, things that you might not like,
Yeah.
but they're just like, try this one on. We think this one would suit you. Try this one on.
Yeah.
So you feel really comfortable and you're trying on things that you maybe wouldn't even think of trying on. And you're like, oh, wow, this actually does look really nice. I didn't think that I'd like this pattern but I do like it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think you got a really cute one. And it was funny because you are like more comfortable bargaining or negotiating or whatever. I'd not tried that yet, but I think that is the way in those malls,
yeah.
right? Like,
I think it's just the background, the Serbian heritage in me. You kind of just bargain. So
yeah.
I was a little bit uncomfortable because I wasn't sure how they would perceive it or if they would get offended. But it seems to be the norm here. And I think that they said that we overpaid. So
Yeah. Of course we would. So yeah, that's fine.
it's totally fine.
Yeah.
But we're learning through our experiences and all our followers are helping us along the way.
Yeah, exactly. I've gotten a few from like the more traditional places. I really like to mix in like the more modern shops that, I don't know, there's this store that we both love called like Mira Mano. Anyway,
something like that. I don't want to say it wrong.
Yeah, but we love that shop, and
we're coming for you.
Yeah, and then there's a store called Noof Al Suderi, which I really like for their abayas. Yeah. There's a couple, and like I got some abayas from this place called Deem Abaya. There's some really
that
cute,
one is stunning.
Yeah, there's some really cute shops. So I think it's a mix. Like you get some from the abaya malls, and you maybe like try on whatever different colors and patterns and styles.
It's just a good experience to get out there, see what's available, and then you know what works for you and what doesn't work.
Like how we are, where you're in Riyadh, in and out of the compound all the time. It is good to have like a couple of abayas to throw on because they just kind of can complete an outfit, and I like it. I like having them in my repertoire to like add to an outfit. There's some things I wouldn't wear an abaya with, and then there's some things that it's nice to add in.
I agree.
Yeah.
And only having one, I'm kind of like on edge. I want to get more.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to get myself a couple more, a bit more color. I'm a very neutral person. So I tend to always go for like neutral tones. So I'm excited to kind of get out of my comfort zone.
Yeah, for sure. So some of the topics we're thinking about for the next episodes is like, we want to talk about like compound living, but we also want to tour some of the non-compound places. So like I've heard of Cedra a lot, anything like that. Like put it in the comments, the places we should tour. Put it in the comments, like what you want to hear from us about. But yeah, I think we'll talk about like what it's like more in depth being here with kids.
Let us know what you want.
Yeah.
We're happy to...
Whatever you're interested in, we'll talk about. We'll go out there and explore. I think this week we want to
And
go.
we're ready to explore.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. We're going to hit like a souk this week. I've had it. I have to go back in my comments, but somebody mentioned like some souks. So we want to.
there are plenty of comments in this, so we need to
Yeah.
go back
Yeah.
and write them all down.
Yeah.
And we're definitely going to experience them.
Yeah. If Vesna said she's going to make me a bargain this week, so that's going to be super awkward.
Watch this space.
Yeah.
So we hope you've enjoyed your first episode of 1, 2, 3
Inside Saudi. Okay. Bye.
Bye.